Good morning, boys and girls. We are going to be working on start unknown word problems today. Hopefully you watched the video from last week to kind of get an introduction. These are new, so we're going to work through them one step at a time, one problem at a time, and each time you do a lesson on these, it'll get easier and easier as you go along. Problem number 1, a pet store put 20 birds in a cage. Now there were 22 birds total in the cage. How many birds were in the cage to start with? Write the equation and solve. So I need to use the cubes method. I'm going to circle my key numbers, which are 20 and 22. And then I'm going to underline the question, which is how many birds were in the cage to start with. I'm going to box in my action word, which is total. And total says, Miss Connie, you need to add. So I'm going to write my equation that matches this problem. And it starts with a box. Because we do not know what they had to start with, that's what we're trying to figure out. But we do know that the pet store put 20 in the cage. So plus 20. And then when they counted again, there were 22 birds in the cage. We're trying to figure out what number goes in the box. If I add 20 and 22 to try to get that answer, I'm going to end up with 42. If I put 42 in the box, does that make sense? 42 plus 20 equals 22. And we say, absolutely not, Miss Connie. So you're going to either erase this or just cross it out, whichever you prefer, and try again. If we tried adding and it didn't work, then we're going to need to subtract. So I'm going to put 22, take away 20, 2 minus 0 is 2, 2 minus 2 is nothing, or you can put the 0 if you want to. If I put 2 into the box, does that make sense? 20 plus 2 equals 22? Absolutely. So we know that's correct. With doing that, we will have earned 3 check marks. 1 check mark, correct equation. 2nd check mark, we showed our work correctly. 3rd check mark, we put the correct answer in the box to solve the equation. Let's look at number 2. And that problem is showing for a birthday party, a clown gave away 21 balloons. Now he has 22 balloons left. How many balloons did the clown have to start with? Write the equation and solve. So I'm going to start out with C, circle my key numbers, which are 21 and 22. Then I'm going to underline my question. How many balloons did the clown have to start with? Then I'm going to box in my action word, which is left, which means you need to subtract in your equation. Starts with a box. It's a start unknown word problem. We do not know how many balloons the clown had to start with. That's why the box goes in the front. But we do, however, know that he or she gave away 21 of them. And when they counted to see how many balloons they had left, they still had 22. Now I've got to figure out what am I going to do to 21 and 22 to get the number that goes in the front. So let's try adding. 22 plus 21. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And 2 plus 2 equals 4. If I put 43 in the box, does it make sense? Yes, it does. It is absolutely correct. You would have just earned 1 check for the correct equation, 1 check for showing your work correctly, and your last check for completing the equation by putting the correct answer in the box. You could also go ahead and check this if you wanted on the side of your paper on another paper by doing 43 take away 21, and you should end up with 22. So Miss Connie's going to erase all of this. If you need to rewind a little bit and look over number 1 and number 2 again, feel free to do that. Stop the video as you go along as you need to. I am going to move on to number 3 and number 4. Number 3, there was a line of people in the lunchroom when 12 more people got in line. Now there were 21 people total in line. How many people were in line to start with? Write the equation and solve. So I need to circle my key numbers, which are 12 and 21. Be careful, 21 is broken up between 2 lines. 21. Then I need to underline my question, how many people were in line to start with. And I need to box in my action word, which is total. And total says, hey, Miss Connie, you need to add. Now I need to take the time to set up my equation to match the problem. My box goes in the front because I do not know how many people were in line to start with. That's the question we're trying to answer. But I do know that 12 more people got in line. So that's plus 12 equals, when I counted all the people in the line, there was 21. Now, I'm looking at that box, plus 12 equals 21. Do I need that number in the box to be big or little? Yes, I need it to be little. How do we make numbers little? We subtract them. So I'm going to show my work by 21, take away 12. 1, take away 2. You can't do that. You must regroup. The 2 in the tens place becomes a 1. The 1 in the ones place becomes 11. 11 take away 2 is 9. And 1 take away 1 is 0 or nothing at all. If I put the 9 in the box, I think to myself, does that make sense? 9 plus 12 equals 21. And I think, absolutely. Pardon me. Number 4. At the arcade, Roger spent 133 tickets on a stuffed tiger. Then he had 184 tickets left. How many tickets did Roger have to start with? Write the equation and solve. I'm going to start off by circling my key numbers, which are 133 and 184. Be careful. 184 has been broken up into 2 separate lines. What is the question we're trying to answer? How many tickets did Roger have to start with? What is our action word? Left. Left says, Miss Connie, you need to subtract. Yes. I need to set up my equation, starting with the box in the front, because we don't know how many tickets Roger had to start with. That's what we're trying to figure out. I do, however, know that he spent 133 of his tickets, and then when he counted it up later, he had 184 tickets left. I need to figure out what number goes in the box, and I need that number to be bigger than 133. How do we make numbers bigger? We add them. So 184 plus 133. 4 plus 3 is 7. That's an ugly 7. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry my 1. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. Put that in the box. Think to myself, does that make sense? 317, take away 133 equals 184. I think absolutely that makes sense. So I've earned my 3 checks. Check, correct equation, check, showed my work correctly, and check, completed the equation by putting the answer in the box. You can pause here if you need to catch up, look at these again, finish writing it down. And I'm going to go ahead and start erasing and move on to 5 and 6. Take a breath, relax. These are new. They might seem a little weird, but we're going to keep going until it just feels better and easier to do. Pardon me. Number 5, a chef bought 280 extra cherries to make a pie. After buying them, he had 387 cherries total. How many cherries did he originally have? Write the equation and solve. Originally, just another fancy way of saying start with. I'm going to circle my key numbers, 280 and 387. Make sure you get the 387. If you stop at 300, you're not going to get the right answer. Now we need to underline our question. How many cherries did he have originally? I need to box in my action word, which is total. Total says, hey, you need to add in your first equation. So box. I don't know how many cherries they had in the first place. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's why the box goes in the front. I do, however, know that that chef got 280 more cherries. Let me fix that. That kind of looks like a 6. And then when he counted all those cherries up, he had 387. So we need to figure out what number goes into the box. Do we need that to be a big number or do we need that to be a little number? We need that to be a little number. And how do we make numbers get little? We subtract them. In second grade, we put the larger number on top, which is 387. Then I'm just going to simply subtract, starting in my ones place. 7 take away 0 is 7. 8 take away 8 is a 0. And 3 take away 2 is 1. When I get ready to slide that into the box, I think to myself, does that make sense? 107 plus 280 equals 387. I think absolutely. Check correct equation. Check you showed your work correctly. And check you put the correct answer in the box completing the equation. Number 6, a pet store took 110 birds out of a cage and had 187 still left inside. How many birds were in the cage to start with? Write the equation and solve. So I'm going to circle my key numbers, which are 110 and 186. I'm going to underline my question. How many birds were in the cage to start with? I'm going to box in my action word, which is left, which means you need to subtract. I now need to set up my equation to match my problem. Box. I don't know how many birds were in there to start with, but I do know that they took 110 out, so I need to subtract. And then when they counted the birds up, they had 187. I need to think about the number I need in the front. Do I need that to be a big number or do I need that to be a small number? And I need that to be a big number. I'm going to take 187 plus 110. 7 plus 0 is 7. 8 plus 1 is 9. And 1 plus 1 is 2. If I put that in the box, does it make sense? Yes, indeed it does. Check correct equation. Check I showed my work correctly. And check I put the right answer in the box. Make sure you take the time to finish writing this down. Take a breath. We'll work on some more together next week. Thanks for all your hard work. Bye.